Hi, my name is Hugo and this is Hugo's Desk. Just wanted to give a small intro to this video. What you're about to watch is a panel I recorded live during the 10th anniversary of my channel. It's a panel that I've been meaning to make for a very long time, and it's called Let's Have an Honest Conversation About AI and the Visual Effects Industry. In this panel, I'm joined by the founder of Cave Academy, Jahirul Amin, program leader of visual effects at Scape Studios, Klaudija, compositing supervisor Ricardo Ferreira, visual effects supervisor Victor Paris, creative director Courtney Price, technical director Alexander Richard, creative director Sajeel, and leading postgraduate media courses at University of Hertfordshire, Saint Walker, who will be leading this discussion and will be the host of this conversation. And of course myself, I'm also part of the panel. We covered a lot of topics during this conversation regarding AI. We talked about the ethical barriers, the public perception, the pros and cons of AI, the misunderstanding between machine learning and AI, among many other topics. We also had a small Q&A at the end with the live audience. As always, I've added chapters below so that you can navigate the different topics of discussion. I always do that on all my videos. I would like to thank all my panelists, Saint Walker for hosting the panel, and of course, I would like to thank both Foundry and BenQ Europe for their support over the years. This panel is not sponsored in any way, but I just wanted to give a shout out to them, since without Foundry and BenQ, this channel would not exist. But that's enough from me. Enjoy the panel, and please make sure you leave a comment below and share it around. I believe it's rare to have such an honest conversation about AI with such an amazing gathering of artists and experts from the visual effects industry. So please do share it around. It would mean a lot to me, and it will really help my channel to grow. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It is completely free. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. We are going to jump right into the panel, which is the, it's called, I know it's a long title, it's called Let's Have an Honest Conversation About the AI and the VFX Industry. Now, we have a lot of people on this panel, so this panel is going to be for an hour, and we're gonna I've also included half an hour extra in case we go long, and also if we have a lot of questions on the chat. So let's just dive in and let's just see how this panel is going to go. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. I'm already scared.
I can't wait. I can't wait, Klaudija, for your very positive
Hello there. Hello there.
AI investments. Hiya.
Hi.
Hello.
Again, like I said, thank you so much for everyone being here. But I'm going to leave it to you, Saint. It's your show, so go for it.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Hello, everybody, and congratulations to Hugo's Desk for 10 years. What a desk that is. Best buy from IKEA ever. So thanks, Hugo, and thanks for arranging this. And this whole sort of session is a kind of celebration of the VFX community. And of course, we couldn't let it go by without talking about AI. And I'm hoping everybody knows what AI stands for, unless you've been hiding under a rock. So this panel is Let's Have an Honest Conversation About AI and the VFX industry. So we're going to keep it to that. We're not going to make it a wider thing about societal implications, but we'll try and keep it to us as practicing VFX artists and professionals. Like Hugo says, we've got 60 minutes to talk through this in conversation with these wonderful panelists. And then we've got half an hour after that if we need it for audience questions and getting into the gritty side of all kinds of generative AI, LLMs, etc., etc. So fantastic. We've got a fantastic panel. Alexander Richter, Klaudija Cermak, of course, Courtney Price, Hugo himself and his desk, Amin, of course, Sajeel Shukla, Ricardo Ferreira, and of course the inimitable Victor Perez. So, guys, I'm going to start off with asking you to each say a statement about AI from your perspective and what may be your position on it. And I'm going to start in that order. So, Alex, if you could go first, tell us about your position on AI.
Thank you very much, Saint. So I just mentioned when I did my workshop about how I see AI for ComTDs and like Python users, basically. So from my point of view, as someone who works in technology, visual effects, animation, games, I love things that make my life easier. So for me, AI in general is something that I see positively, even though I cannot open my LinkedIn account anymore because it's just ridiculously annoying. But for me, I always see the thing that is useful. So when I started to look into AI, for example, for coding and stuff like that, I always see the level of it actually being useful, and I throw away everything that is not useful. So, and I experienced in when I did it, basically that AI is maximum on the level of assistant, like meaning you have to be really good at whatever you do. And AI is an intelligent but not smart intern that can support you. You know, it can, for example, in coding, it can help you code faster. It can do a code review for you. It can maybe give you alternative solution. It's basically like if you work on your own, it's a great person you can talk to, but you have to be aware that the ideas and the solutions can be retarded or bad sometimes, and you just have to be someone who understands enough to deal with that. And so I see it positively, but I also see, sadly, the negative overuse of it. And in my role also as educator, I try to find the balance where I say use it 10, 20%, but don't overuse it, basically.
Thank you. Yeah, that idea of AI as a not so smart intern is a very good kind of vision, great image to have. Let's go with Klaudija now. Klaudija, what's your position on AI?
Okay, you did say 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I will be honest. I have a problem with AI as I think it's in the wrong hands for wrong reasons and here purely to replace salaries. I think a lot of people are scared to voice this opinion because they don't want to come across as being old-fashioned or against progress. However, we need to think about human nature and what makes us human. Let me explain. According to Karl Marx, human nature is defined by our essential drive to be creative, productive, and transform the world through our labor, a process he calls species being. This inherent potential for creativity is stifled and alienated under capitalism, and we know who is running this AI drive, right? Where market forces rather than human needs dictate production, leading to us being estranged from our human nature of creativity and estranged from our fellow human beings and ultimately ourselves. Having said that, I have been exploring various AI tools like Runway, Keen Tools, Midjourney, and so on, and I even encourage my students to have a play around. But we tend to concentrate on tools that are part of the industry pipelines like Nuke's, Copycat, or some machine learning tools from Boris FX and so on. I'm talking about compositing here. And we find that sometimes it is too time-consuming to set up, let's say, Copycat if one is dealing with one shot of a kind at a time, rather than a sequence of similar shots. The same is with cleanup. We will turn to Nuke's inference nodes, let's say, or Boris's Mocha, rather than Runway or similar. Of course, many visual effects facilities are building their own tools like Framestore and Vita and so on for individual shows. But then that was always really the case. We always were building tools for particular effects or particular shows. So interestingly enough, for concept art, Visual Effects Society London recently had a top panel of concept and previous artists, Daniel Magari, Kieran Belshaw, Jules Dorialat, and Chris McDonald's, who were all talking about their work, and they were not using AI as they were incredibly skilled in creating numerous iterations of their visions themselves. So I think the thing to remember is that we are now in some sort of in-between space We know AI is coming and we are trying to adapt, but in our case at Escape, we are still teaching traditional methods because I haven't still seen anything that can completely replace certain skills that we need to have. I mean, that is if we want to work at a high-end level that we are used to, like being pixel
We need
perfect.
to
Yes. Is it too long?
roll up now. Just
Yes.
carry on. Just
Okay.
just
Okay.
another
That was my stance roughly. When you want to be very precise, I think it's very hard to get AI tools to be precise, especially in concept creation. I mean, I was going to show an
Okay.
example, but
Claudia, I have to stop you
yes,
there just to
okay,
be fair
fine,
to
fine.
the others. But thank
Okay,
you.
okay,
You
yes,
you know,
I agree.
so there we have a sense of distrust of the people who are creating the tools, and their motives maybe. But you're very much portraying there the need to be on the side of the humans, team human, as I call it. So thank you very much for that. Courtney, could you give us your perspective now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, personally, yes, there's definitely the ethical and philosophical debate around AI that needs to be had, and there is the dystopian kind of outline, the future kind of potential where it can run away from us and get out of control and or even get an IQ or a level of like consciousness that we can't control and stuff like that. And that's a real thing that people of knowledge need to treat with respect and actually some sort of what's the word, conscience. But in my personal day-to-day life, AI has enhanced it or has enabled me to do more and be more creative to a certain extent with different tools and different platforms where they combine multiple tasks. Now, for instance, let's say I had to create let's say a pitch deck, for example. Typically, I would have needed about 3 or 4 different people to help me create that. I can do that on my own in a few evenings and have something to present. So, yes, it does remove the need for 3 or 4 extra people that I could potentially pay or give, some sort of remuneration to. But then also it allows me to get to my vision or my final idea a lot faster. So I would like to think of it more as a Jarvis rather than an Ultron. And I hope you guys get the reference there. But yeah, I think it's as bad as the people controlling it or that enable it to go out into the world without restraints. So yeah, that's my view.
Thanks, Courtney. Yes, so very much there about enhancement and optimization. And yes, you pointed out there the need for ethics, and maybe also that idea that we are going to need less people who will do more. But we may cover that later on. So thank you very much for that. Hugo, what's your stance?
Okay, I'll try to be short, but I'm probably the only person probably in this panel that I have not used AI at all. Like I just hate it, so I don't really just use it. I, of course, not talking about machine learning. That's a very different thing, and I think people confuse those two things. I use machine learning, and I embrace machine learning, and I think machine learning is great. But AI, for me, especially generative AI, I'm more talking about generative AI. I just don't use it. I just refuse to use it. I just feel that I don't understand what's the fucking point, and I don't really understand why we even had the need to have something to automate art. For me, it's a huge problem. I'm sure I sound like an old man yelling at clouds. That's fine. I don't mind. I was just 47 last week, so yeah, I'm an old man. That's fine. But the thing with this is that I just can't pass this problem of, you guys, a lot of people on the channel know me. I have a fine art degree. That's what I did when I first started my life. And I come from art. Art is all about the story, and it's about the passion, and it's about the journey, and it's about emotional tolls, and it's about sentiments, and it's not something that I am interested in optimizing. And I never really understood why we have the need to optimize this. I have no, well, I know why. The shareholders want more money, and the CEOs want more money, and that's why. But I just really, I'm very in favor with AI if we're talking about medical practices, or if we need to, help to save cancer, or to develop a lot of technology that can make our lives better. I just don't really get why we had the need to replace art. If anything, music and writing and art and visual effects and all the arts, really, comic books, for me, they've always been about the human side. And so I just can't deal with that. And so maybe I'm on denial, maybe I'll be wrong someday, but I look at it and it just repulses me and I just can't stand it. But I am very in favor of machine learning. That's a different conversation altogether. I don't want to spend much more time. I've talked about this so many times on my channel, so I'm not going to... Everyone on the chat knows my opinion about this, so I'm going to pass it over to someone else to hear other opinions.
Yeah. Thank you. So you're on the fence then, aren't you? Yeah. So
you're very polite. Yes, I'm very on the fence. Yes.
No, I'll say you're totally on the other side of the fence. But anyway, Thank you very much. And I think sort of what you were saying there about sort of the confusion of terms about machine learning, and we're living in a kind of an acronym soup where people are throwing these terms around without really knowing what they are. So thank you for making that clear. Jay, what about you? What's your position?
Yeah, I guess I do use some machine learning bits and bobs, especially for photogrammetry, Gaussian splats. I haven't delved too much into the generative AI. And I think that's more to do with, well, there's two reasons why. The first one would be just making sure it's ethical kind of tool sets. I know there are some supposed ethical tool sets, but that then goes on to the second reason why I don't use it much would be, I guess I still enjoy the doing of stuff. And I guess there's a lot more of typing stuff, and I just don't find that. I like writing, don't get me wrong, but I like writing, not having something write for me. And the same with making pictures or anything else. Like, even though I'm a very poor drawer, artist, painter, I still like doing it. So it hasn't enticed me so much to start generating art with tools. But I do like things like again, post-shot, for example, Gaussian splatting for VFX, creating a 3D kind of almost like a witness camera in 3D space. That's amazing for lighting reference, for example. So I see some benefits in that kind of technology. I could understand why people want to generate images because it makes them feel like they've made a picture, but I still personally like to try to make a picture, even if it's not the picture I wanted in my head. But I like the enjoyment of doing that still.
Yeah, and we as practicing artists, as professionals in VFX, we like to make images, and we don't want to lose that. We don't want to give that power to something else and just end up being like you say, a keyboard jockey. So thank you very much for bringing that up as a point. Sajeel, what about you? Is Sajeel here?
So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here.
great.
Hey, so I have a mixed bag. So I don't like to use AI, generative AI in general, but I use AI as a prompt engine for me, to be honest, when I'm sometimes stuck. So two things I refuse to do. Initially, I did dabble into it to see, hey, what's the fuss about? Example, Midjourney and all. But then I refuse to pay money to huge corporations. So I run most of this online on my local computer, like Comfy UI or Olama LLMs. And yeah, I use it to prompt me when I'm confused, like, hey, I want to do this, like give me like 10 options, then I'll select, but then I'll weave it into my story and my direction of how I want to do things. And let's say I write scripts as well, so I would then go ahead and rewrite the whole thing in my own words and the way I want it. But yeah, sometimes I take it as a help when I get writer's block or something. But overall, I think it's here to stay. There's nothing we can do. And one thing I strongly believe is if you don't have vision, yes, we get a lot of AI slop. Like there's new trend with those small toys now coming in. Like few months back, it was Ghibli art, everyone converting things to Ghibli, right? So it's a fun tool for general people. They unknowingly don't know how much damage they are doing to the industry by promoting it too much like this. It's fun and games for them, but then again, I've seen artists from our industry giving into those trends. Like again, the small toy thing with the blender background, it's trending everywhere now. So I think we'll keep on getting that AI slop. But one good thing that I saw was YouTube came up with a thing that, hey, your AI generated content is not going to be monetized anymore. So it's pretty good. Otherwise, I had seen a lot of Indian religious content, like just like how Bible is there, there's Mahabharata and Ramayana and things like that. So people were just making animated videos of this and putting it out using AI. So uh, yeah, loads of same thing because everyone was using Midjourney and Runway and whatnot. So you're seeing similar content, similar stories, and yeah, that's the AI slot. And there is no way that would replace high-end VFX. But on the other flip side, would VFX studios not use AI? I'm seeing all the studios here in India using it. But things for like background crowd, which is out of focus, like if I have blur like this, they'll use it and it's gonna save cost. So as an artist, I hate it. As a business person or entrepreneur who has to make money and answer to investors or whatever, yeah, that's the future. Sadly, it's the truth. So
Yeah, and each of us maybe have feelings in both camps. So thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for mentioning the AI slop and also the YouTube initiative as well. Ricardo, what about yourself? What's your position?
So, my point of view as a composer supervisor or a senior composing artist, I see AI as a tool that can support work but not replace it. A lot of what we do involves time consuming tasks like rotoscoping, cleanup, tracking that AI can help speed up in that sense. It's useful because it gives more space to focus on the parts of compositing that are truly creative, shaping the mood of the scene and blending elements so they feel like they were always meant to be together, and making sure the story comes through in every frame. That said, AI has clear limits. It can generate results, but it doesn't understand intention. It doesn't know when a shot feels off or when something subtle needs to be shifted. So that it matches the director vision of the emotional tone of the story. Those kind of choices come from an artist's eye, taste, and experience, things you can't automate. So I think AI is as just another tool in the kit, like a new plugin or a piece of software. It can make certain steps easier, but the essence of compositing is still about storytelling, precision, and human judgment. For me, the real value of AI is in how it frees up to spend less time on technical cleanup and more time on the craft that makes visual effects powerful. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Yeah, and that idea of taste, an artist's taste, and sense of composition, and all those good things that our eyes can do. Of course, AI feeds on what has already happened. It feeds on the past. It cycles, if you like, past imagery. So it's never going to come up with stuff which is really new. It's just going to remix. So thank you for making that clear. One more, last but by no means least, to get their position on this. This is Victor. Victor, what's your position on AI?
Well, first of all, happy anniversary, Hugo. You really deserve it because 10 years, I mean, nobody knows the amount of work you put on this. So before I take on AI, I wanted to acknowledge that you really are outstanding here. So yeah, let's give this man an award or something for the longest and better streaming service in the world for visual effects. One said that. I think there is a lot of confusion about AI. First of all, machine learning is AI, is a branch of AI. And generative AI is another branch of AI. AI has been around for over 50 years. Of course, since 2022, we have like the new, stable diffusion thing and all of that. But what I feel is like we are taking ourselves too seriously here, because we are working in what is the creative industry, and everybody is focusing on the creative world, but not in the industrial work. And one of my favorite companies is called Industrial Light and Magic. And it's like, oh, we are so artists, we are so human. And come on, guys. As compositors, we have been fixing shit for so many shots. So I don't want to do that. That is not artistic at all. And on a shot that is integration of CGI, sometimes you just need to remove the green man or remove reflections or doing... That is a lot of... Most of the times, to be completely honest with you, is way more difficult to fix those references that you get instead of doing the integration of the CGI, that is like the most artistic and beautiful and hippie thing to do. But come on. So this is industrial. Let's take it as, I'm going to make a very easy parallelism. Let's talk about burgers. Are we against burgers or are we in favor of burgers? Well, you can be vegan, like Hugo, for instance. And yeah, it's your choice. But we cannot say that McDonald's is bad. Well, McDonald's is giving work to many, many, many people, and is allowing other people with less money to access to food. Maybe it's not the foods that I'm going to choose, but there is an option in there. So you choose, use it or not. I'm not going to enter in the ethical implications because that is a different thing, but the question is this, it's another tool. What I want to do, this is my synthesis, is like, I want to create while AI is washing my dishes. What I don't want to do is wash my dishes while AI is creating art. So this is the thing. So I think we should relax a bit and just to be more open and just try, because honestly, it's not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. It's just something else. It's another thing. And it's another thing that you have to learn. It's not easy. And most of the people is thinking that, oh, it's just writing a prompt. Try to use Comfy UI. And you will finish like with a script like huge. And then you realize like, it's like the people that don't know visual effects and it's like, what is compositing? Oh, it's very easy. You just put things over there. And that is the job of a whole industry, just putting things in there. So we should just embrace more about changes, because we have been suffering a lot for the last few years because it have been like a very rough period. But we should, visual effects industry has been always characterized by technology, and technology is changing. So if we are deciding to stop changing, bye-bye, the industry is done. So no, we need to every day. This is the contract we signed with the devil when we started here. Is like, we know that this is going to happen sooner or later, and it can change. And it changed also. Imagine the dialogue between the people supporting Maya and the people supporting Blender. Oh, Blender is the same thing. I don't care. Give me pencils and I will create whatever. But give me brushes or give me crayons. I don't care. It's just like, I am the artist. So at the end of the day, just by me being in front of there and making decisions, this is me being the artist, making decisions.
Thank you, Victor. And we should say for fairness, other burger joints do exist. Thank you for the analogy. First time McDonald's has probably been included in about AI. So well done. Thanks. Now we've been through the gang, so you've got an idea of their positions. We won't go straight away to audience questions, but I just want to kick off a couple of conversations. I'm going to say a statement and then ask you to just run with it, and each of you can just come in as you see fit. And really, I wanted to sort of like see if we can sort of talk around this idea of whether there's any parallels with the immensity of this change in the industry, or and every industry with AI. Is it on a parallel with the change that the VFX industry had to digitization, for instance, or is it even bigger than that? We saw that sort of globalization led to outsourcing of roto and prep, which meant new entrants had to ramp up their skills for even sort of entry level jobs. The kind of skills that you had to teach new entry people was higher than before because roto was outsourced. Will AI mean there are no entry level jobs anymore? How is it going to pan out for the next generation coming along? Who wants to take that to start off with? Maybe because her face is there large. Klaudija, sort of, will AI mean there will be no new entry jobs? Yeah, you, Klaudija.
Oh, you mentioned me. Okay. Okay. Will it mean, well, what sort of jobs will be? Let's say AI is able to do all this work, right? And I mean, what are the non-entry jobs going to look like? Do you want to talk to your computer, or do you want to actually do things with your hands and create and so on? I don't know. Really, I don't know. But I've listened to Boris FX engineers, and they were saying that even though they've introduced all these tools, let's say rotor tools, that it will be impossible to get perfect rotor anyway with AI, or you always have to have some sort of intervention. We don't know, but
it's okay not to
I
know.
can't imagine what the entry-level jobs are going to be if, let's say, cleanup and roto are replaced by AI. Maybe
okay, that's great. We're not supposed to know all the answers, but I have 3 hands up at the moment, so I'll go in the order I saw them. So Sajeel, you were first.
So this is a bit different regionally speaking for us here in India. What I have been seeing is in Western counterparts, it's the higher level artists which are in demand, who can use AI and fix the problems. It's the reverse that's happening in India, because India is a very cost sensitive country when it comes to VFX and CGI and everything. So most of the job openings related to AI that I'm seeing is mid and junior with 2 to 3 years of experience max. Some are asking for 5-6 years, and I'm like, are you mad? Like, the kind of generative AI you are asking for, it wasn't even popular. Like, people won't have that experience, but that is someone who probably used AI to post a job posting, or they don't know anything about industry. But yeah, fun enough, in India, studios are looking for more junior and mid-level artists to train them on AI from now, so it's cheaper for them in the long run. And from what I'm hearing, like I said, UK, US, Canada, France, their entry ticket for juniors has become much more harder to get into the industry because of AI, because the quality standards have just rose up way too high. So that's what I think.
Okay, thank you. I think Alex was next.
Yeah, I think it is very important to see things in the hierarchical order. So it's basically programming, machine learning, and then AI. And it starts, programming is the hardest. Machine learning, and I mean exposed machine learning like copycat, is more like, it's part of a tool. So you just tweak and it's basically programming running in behind. And then AI is just prompting. It's just writing a sentence and trying to figure out how to write a sentence better, that you get better results and repeat. And at the end of the day, the easier it is. For example, something like copycat is much easier to use than writing Python script to use machine learning, database, basically. But copycat doesn't allow you the freedom as like a Python script with machine learning background allows. ChatGPT doesn't allow you the freedom as copycat allows you, because there is this, like, it basically narrows down. And at the end of the day, something like ChatGPT, Grok, whatever you use, it narrows so much down on one side that the flexibility, there is a limit, because there's a limit how much you can prompt versus go deeper into a coding or machine learning or whatever. And at the same time, it's this thing is, if everyone can prompt, then no one can really is very expertise in anything basically. So I don't think there will always be entry level for everything, because it's also about experience. Basically, even if you just ChatGPT your whole office work, there is a beginner and there is an expert who knows exactly how to do it. So I think the entry levels will always exist. It just will change. The typical thing we talk about nuke and compositing, and Victor mentioned rotoscopy and stuff like that. No one wants to do that. That is pretty boring. And I love when we did the copycat thing, I love that if this develops more, that you just do one frame and it does the rest of the sequence or the shot. That's what we want. No one wants to do that by hand. It's really boring. So that is what we want. And if we can find this middle ground, I think that would be the most realistic thing. That's why I like the element where Jahirul and Hugo said that they're more on the machine learning side at the moment, because I also feel like this is the more professional and the more sustainable side for now. The just jumping on the AI wagon, I think, is more you get some results, but they're relatively unprofessional level. Like for someone who's, for example, also a writer, I don't like the results of any AI that I ever used in my life. They all cannot stand a candle to what I write, but they can inspire me. So again, I'm always going with the AI as an assistant, machine learning as actually a driver, like a really process, where with real good machine learning, we can create 500% faster results basically with copycat and stuff like that. Where with AI, we get more of a 10% faster machine, someone supporting you as an assistant kind of level at the moment, for now at least.
Thank you.
Yeah, so basically there's always a space for beginners, even in 100 years, I believe, because there's always new things to learn and become expert in.
Okay, so you don't see the new entry jobs drying up. You see them being a different kind of job.
They just level up,
Yeah.
basically, we're not going out and coal mine and stuff. We are now in offices, and it's like this level of more thinking, less labor, and saying less labor rotoscopy and more how do I put my notes together to make some cool effect or something like that. That's
okay. Thanks. I'll move on to Victor now, and then Ricardo. So Victor. Oh, has he gone?
You're muted, Victor.
Sorry. What I wanted to say is that, yeah, before there were so many entry level.
Victor, can I just ask you a small favor? Your sound is really high compared to everyone else, and I can't control it on this side. Yeah, thank you. That's perfect.
That's because you've got a booming voice. That's Victor.
Yeah. That demonstrates that I am not AI. Right? No, what I was saying is that it is true that before they were before we are still there. So the entry level just for compositing, I'm just talking about the department that I by my own experience, I started doing rotoscoping. And I have to say, I hate every minute of that because there is no correlation at all into compositing, and rotoscoping. You don't become a better compositor by doing more rotoscoping. There is no relation in there. The only thing is by doing rotoscoping, you are in the company. So if they need a compositor, they are going to give you the opportunity because you are there. But it makes no better artist of you. You are just there. So you are just doing an operator. You are not an artist. And nobody can tell me, and I can fight against that nobody can tell me that a roto artist.
You know the funny thing, Victor, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you watch the stream later on, I have someone coming in with a fireside chat, actually the opposite of what you just said. They told me that they loved Roto and it really helped them to become a really good painter because of the precision with... So this is more of a joke stand-in that I'm just wanted to let you know that there's always someone that likes Roto. I have met a lot of people that like Roto. A lot of people enjoy it, actually, quite a lot, so...
Of course, I'm not saying that is not to be respected. That is not to be. What I'm going to say is it's a mechanical job. Why? Because you can point the finger when it's well done or when it's not well done. And that is a mechanical thing, because in compositing, sometimes, yeah, there is a component that is technical, but then there is a component that is artistic. And for me, technical is something that you can point your finger when it's not working. Artistic is something that you can say, I don't like it, or I prefer this other way. So the thing is like the entry jobs, the so-called entry jobs in the visual effects industry, not always are related to an increase of skill. For instance, for me, an entry job for a compositing job will be a junior compositor. That is an entry-level job. A rotoscoping, that is not an entry-level job. That is a mechanical thing. And then, of course, there are roto artists, and then there are like senior roto artists and people that, because I know a few people that they really enjoy, and they are really, really fast. Much better than a machine, because a machine, we can price the level, it's true. But what I'm saying, if you want to be a compositor, you don't get to be a better compositor by doing more rotoscoping. It's like, it's two separate things. And you can be a great rotoscope artist and have no idea about how light works, because it's a different set of skills. So the thing is like, what is the entry-level job? That is not an entry-level job. And that can even create false hopes. So someone that is having a rotoscope, after a year doing rotoscope, is like, hey, I deserve a job as a compositor. Why? Why? You are demonstrating that you know splines well. And what does it mean? Do you know about light? Because compositing is more about photography than something else. So this is what I mean. It's like we have been used to a way of doing things for so long that now we cannot see things differently.
Oh.
Anyway, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Victor. And I'm going to move on to Ricardo was next, and then Sajeel.
Thank you. So I think we have here two perspectives, one of the teachers and one for the artists, because the teachers, they are a little bit threatened with this AI development, because at some point they were too old school about rotoscoping, cleanup, and all these techniques. And now everything starts to being automated. So they don't know what they should teach at the moment, and they need to improve their skills at some point. But I totally understand and agree with Hugo, because in the companies, when you start, you're coming out from a school, you go to the roto department and the prep department in big companies. And the compositing department is another department. So first they learn the basics and the introduction to everything. And when they have some experience creating masks and deleting tasks and other things, they move to compositing. So I totally agree that people that stay long time in rotoscoping needs more time to understand what is compositing, because are two different things. But my point here is that I was having a conversation with a CEO, a friend of a big school of VFX, and his words were like, when AI takes over tasks that used to be entry level, it shrinks the pipeline where new talent develops. If junior artists don't get hired to the grunt work, how do they gain experience and move up? And that creates a bottleneck that threatens the future of talent pool. So we feel here that we are in a moment in VFX of changing the path of learning, because if this AI will come up and overlap the old school, probably students need to start learning compositing and not so much roto and prep, because these tasks will be done automatically. So that's my point of view.
Thank you. I'll just bring in Sajeel and then Hugo, and we'll move on. Time is running away, and I want to get to those questions, but
you can skip me then. I can go to the next question. That's not a problem.
No, don't worry. But first of all, Sajeel.
So, very quickly, I kind of agree with Ricardo, and I think Alex would also agree to that. Like there's new thing going on with vibe coding, and if people don't know basics and you are just automating things, what if one day for whatever reason their servers crash or whatever, right? They stop giving AI product as a service on cloud. If you don't know the fundamentals, that's it. Like that generation is going to get stuck really badly if they don't have access to AI. One more thing, when it comes to teachers, I was teaching something game design VFX in Unreal Engine, and I was quite impressed. Like that, usually this magical circles with weird text which comes and glows and rotates around, right? And I was using Comfy UI, and within 15 minutes, it gave me like 50 variations, which was mind boggling. And I just picked and choose layers and then mix and merge. Yes, I cannot use this in commercial work because those texts won't make any freaking sense, design wise or continuity wise or anything. That was the pro side, but on the con side, I was talking with one of the actual like real world physical artists recently. His name is Rohan Dhotray. He's on my LinkedIn, and I had seen his post. He had handmade this mask of a tiger. It's really beautiful. I don't know if I can share screen, but I have the image up. And someone literally stole the one image, trained a LoRa or AI based on that image, and they are posting on Instagram bunch of animals, foxes, rabbits, who knows what. So that is like kind of sad, where people have started thinking that, hey, it's online, we can use it and it's our property. It's not. It's really not. And sadly, there's no firm rules or laws to prohibit this. I mean, as it is, AI is the biggest theft in the history of humans. But yeah, that is something I wanted to add.
We've always had digital theft anyway, people ripping stuff off from websites. I think there's a level of insidiousness about AI and stealing, but of course, in terms of the law, this is being enacted in courthouses globally. But a lot of people have said it's not stealing because it never stole in the first place. It rather refers. It never, this idea of AI hoovering images onto their own servers. Of course, it doesn't. It hoovers vectors. It hoovers essentially numbers and reassembles them. So it's a bit like you going to the National Gallery and looking at a piece of art and then later on being inspired by it.
It doesn't, just on that though, quickly saying, aren't there a bunch of people in buildings somewhere looking at all the images and tagging them to say that is a dog, that is a cat? So the tools aren't just looking at pixels. There is someone who is saying, actually, I want you to know what this is, so you can then recreate.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But it's not theft of a dog. It's rather it's tagging a whole dog. So there is a dogness about an image that comes up if you ask for a dog. It's no particular one dog. But I'm not here to make these statements, but rather say that to just make sure that there is this quagmire of legality. We're in this interregnum, aren't we, where no one knows whether it's copyright or not. But the point I wanted to make really was we shouldn't pretend that some of these characteristics are new with AI. People have always been stealing work. It's just the way in which they do it.
Absolutely.
But I didn't want to make a polemic here. I wanted to go to Klaudija, who had her hand up.
I had my hand, remember, Santa. I'm going to be I promise I'm going to be super quick because everyone is fed up of listening to me on this channel. So I'm going to talk a lot less today. So I just wanted to say two really short things. One, mainly for what Ricardo was saying, I agree with him. But I actually want to emphasize one thing that he mentioned about the teachers. I actually think the more AI grows, the more the teachers should be coming and should really focus on core skills instead of technical skills. And I feel like that is a big problem. The teachers do not teach core skills enough. They do not teach lighting and photography and composition and the main aspects of art and the main aspects that started all this thing, the same things that we've been learning for millennia. Those things are the ones that the teachers should focus on, and less about the shortcuts and the softwares and this and that. And man, how many softwares have I used in my life? For fuck's sake, spending so many. They come and go. There's like it doesn't even make any sense. There's one final thing that I wanted to say, and this has to do with what Victor was saying about Roto, that Roto is boring, and Roto, and I agree with him. It's a task that the only caveat would say that, speaking from experience with my students, the only thing that Roto comes and brings to a student is that it gives them patience and it gives them a sense of concentration, and it gives them a sense of duty, because the rotoscoping is such a complex thing, it's such a hard thing to do, and I really noticed that it made them very focused and concentrated. And I do feel that these days focus is a big problem with this new generation. And so, if anything, I think rotoscoping kind of helped with that, to keep you focused. But I don't want to deviate and continue saying, so I'll leave it to you, Saint. I already talked enough.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, because I've noticed...
Oh, I'm sorry, Klaudija. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. Especially since COVID, that students have much less ability to concentrate. And I really use rotoscoping for them to develop this attention to detail and actually sit down and do it. And it's not really boring. They can listen to music, they can listen to books, and so on. The same thing with prep. Being able to remove certain elements from the shots, and do it well, pixel perfect, is again giving them also an opportunity to look at the detail for a long period of time. And I think that will make them a better compositor, actually. Just the observation, because we have a big problem at the moment that there are so many distractions in the world. People are also, young people are not watching enough movies. We all got into visual effects because we love movies, but I can see from the work that they're watching games, playing games, because they don't recognize the lower quality in the assets sometimes that they are trying to put into the shot. So many challenges, and totally agree. Core skills, we are totally revamping. I'm totally revamping masters. I'm gonna, teach them drawing, give them a list of 100 films they have to watch, take them to galleries and so on. Let's just develop this eye for the aesthetics and, what looks good. Just having this judgment of what are we creating.
Alex. Thank you, Klaudija.
Thank you. Yeah, I think because there was this point about teachers and so on. So I think it's what Hugo said, I think, is fantastic. And I think Jahirul, we basically talked about that on the podcast as well. We basically mentioned that we need to teach like really fundamental skills, and really understanding things, breaking things down. Not just the big problem with something like ChatGPT is, oh, you create a thumbnail for your YouTube video, or you make a whole video with just a few prompts, but you don't understand anything about it. You don't understand the story. You don't understand the composition, whatever. So basically, where I love what, for example, Jahirul does, is that he looks at things compares it to real life and tries to convert it to 3D and tries to rebuild it basically and understand the fundamentals so it looks and feels real basically. And I think that is the level that we all need to do when we do compositing. We should look into lighting, as Victor always said, and should look into photography. It's not just compositing and that's it. We should go out and touch things and look at things basically. At the same time, I'm not a fan of waterboarding rotoscoping or something, because I feel like I who studied law, media computer science, technical directing, and were in school for 13 years, I can with 100% certainty say I can throw away half of my education with a blink of an eye, and I wouldn't lose anything. Most of my math education is completely for trash. Most of my Latin and whatever bullshit I learned, completely trash. It's not about against philosophy or language or whatever. It's the problem that I always had with these kind of thing, and that's my problem with for example, rotoscoping as a non-compositor, by the way, is if it has a purpose and it's outside of meditation, because that's what it is at the moment. I learned meditation. That's what rotoscoping at this moment is, patience and so I don't believe that is a good idea. But I love if you do something with fundamentals, and that's what I love about Jahirul's approach, is we should always approach it in a very practical way. If we learn math, we should see it, where do we use it? Oh, we use it to calculate our taxes, or to calculate our finances, or to calculate the room so we can put our furniture into. If we learn programming, we make video games, we make software to help us. If we learn compositing, we do something interesting and don't just, there is some hair that we need to rotoscope out and kind of do that for 2 months. So I think fundamentals is the key to like the future, also the fight against AI, by being a problem solver, by being able to even adjust to AI and machine learning and whatever, but also, and that is the difference between the normal teachers and the great fundamental teachers, are practicability. Because most of my life in university, school, a lot of fundamentals that I learned are completely for the trash bin. They're just book fundamentals. They're not life fundamentals. And I include philosophy and stuff like that. It means if you teach me something, including philosophy and rotoscoping and whatever, show me the money, show me the practicability, show me how I can love it, not just I have to endure it and you waterboard me for 10 months with this stupid skill or this math stuff or whatever. And that's what I believe also, for example, when I teach Python programming, is if I teach you, I will teach you fundamentals. You will not get away from dictionaries and lists and loops and whatever, but I will also show you very fast how you can use it to make your life better. And that is the key, I think, to also future education and also fighting against the taking over of AI kind of level.
Thank you. And before I go to Victor, who's next, and then the others, just to say a few things, I think. First of all, I really like the idea of, attention to detail that Roto gives you. And also bringing up this idea of fundamentals, because we're at a peculiar time at the moment. And of course, what we're talking about now with machine learning, AI, it's a pack of cards, and it all could come tumbling down when the big corporations decide everything on the cloud is theirs, and also decide to up subscription charges. So we could be in a very precarious position unless we pay attention to those fundamentals, so we can program our way out of issues, for instance. Just wanted to make another point which sort of has come across really, and that is that it's a bit of a UK stat, but in the last 15 years, we've lost about 42% of all expressive arts courses in schools. So the pipeline to people who understand about light, color, etc., has shrunk considerably, and that's at schools level. So it's no surprise if we get less people who have those skills coming up. Last thing, of course, to say, we're talking about a situation here where ChatGPT, I think, came out in November 2022. So it's an incredibly short period of time all this has happened. And so maybe in 10 years' time, when Hugo does his 20th anniversary, it'll be very much a different conversation.
Oh, no, don't do...
Yeah, get planning now, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to be almost 60 if that happens. Jesus.
Well, I'll be long gone anyway. Don't worry. You'll have to get AI to do the chairing. But anyway, Victor, over to you.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the theme, because there is something that shocked me about what Klaudija said that is real, which is the question of the span of attention of students, that after COVID is really more difficult. And I'm going to say something. And today I'm very Spanish today. I'm very passionate. But who cares?
Oh, no. Portuguese and Spanish on the same panel. That's not going to work out, man.
This is going to be on fire. The question is if a student cannot focus on the patience of learning, well, do something else. Do something else. Who cares? And we are already a lot of artists in here. So if we want more artists, we want better artists. So there is a lot of hedonism right now. I want it and I want it now. Well, if you want to practice patience, grab a camera, make pictures, and observe what happens just by changing two lenses. Analyze what happens and someone to guide them. But what we cannot do is just to create an army of people unemployed. Because let's not forget that there are learning institutions that their job is just to produce students. What for? So what is the point? It's not about creating more students, but to create better students. And the thing is it's not about the core, even just the core, that of course I know, and I have to say that I was a big fan of Hugo's tutorials because I love what he teaches. It's not about the software. There are so many software-oriented I hate them all because I can learn the saying with the manual. So thank you very much. But the thing is like, yeah, of course, you need to learn rotoscopy, but not for the scope of learning patience. If you want to learn patience, Sudoku is amazing. But if you want to learn to be an artist, it's just about practice, repetition, over and over and over and over, because in the iterations, you are just going to get the variations that make you a better artist. So you need a mentor in order to understand in every variation you are going to make what is better and why is better. So I think we need less teachers and more mentors. That is why I love the mentorship and even the thing of grabbing people, a small group, and just growing them as individuals, as their voices. And I think something beautiful is happening right now because of the threat of AI. Now the industry for the visual effects is looking more to a future like filmmaking. How do you become a filmmaker? Well, you become a filmmaker, a director, by grabbing a camera and shooting something. And you know these days that James Cameron is under fire for their remarks and all of that. But the thing is like, he said something very wise. You want to be a director? Grab your friends, grab a camera, shoot something. Then you are a director. Something else is just the idea of being a director. And really, you don't struggle. So the thing is like, you want to be a better artist to aspire to better positions. Do your personal showreel. Just grab. The difficult part is like, where I'm going to grab my materials? Well, there are now places to grab materials just to be, you want to be a compositor, but you want to be, if you really want to learn the art of patience, try to be an animator, because that is the ultimate learning of patience.
Okay, thank you, Victor. I'm going to just bring us back to, it's about AI and the VFX industry, so we'll keep to that. We've only got, Jay, you have the last word on this, and then we'll go to the questions, because it's about that time to go to the chat and the questions. So, Jay, first of all, is he gone?
Yeah, I think Victor said everything I was going to say. So
okay, okay, Klaudija, did you have your hand up?
I did have my hand up.
Yeah.
Now I forgot. It was
well,
something
don't worry.
Victor said. We love Victor because Victor is a top man.
The only thing I just add on top is
I agreed on a lot of points, but I must say, I just want to emphasize that our compositing courses have more than 90% employment before people graduate. So we are not going to get rid of teachers just as that fast. So I have no problem with directing students.
Okay, Jay.
To the right place.
Oh yeah, sorry. Please go on.
Jay?
Yep.
I thought you had a question.
No, it was. I was just going to add the just that it takes time. I think again, everything Victor mentioned about getting a camera, going out, making something. That's how you're going to gain experience and improve your eye. But I think there's a bit of a rush to become something without going through the steps of learning stuff. And
I would like to quickly add something to what Victor and Jay and Klaudija and even Hugo and everyone said is, this is the primary difference between education system over here in India and, for example, I've done my undergrad from UK. I learned new compositing from Hugo. There are a lot of people who will teach you like press this button and it will make a cube in terms of 3D sense. But like if you want to make a sphere, you can subdivide a cube enough times to make it into a sphere. It's the concepts which are really important. And sadly, the education system, at least here in India, lacks on that. I've studied in India as well. I've studied in UK. I've studied with a lot of international top artists. So I totally agree with what Victor was saying a few minutes back, that if the concepts are not there, then you do not create taste or critical thinking to even know whether you are doing something right or wrong.
So just to steer the conversation into the AI, what I believe is like what we need to do is to adapt to the new tools and use them for artistic purposes And that's all, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's with that. That's a great segue. Thank you, Victor. To one of the questions here, which is, and I'd like some quick fire answers here because we've got very little time left. And the first question I'm getting is AI apps recommendations for VFX. Anybody got any particular recommendations of what to look at? And also with that, Comfy UI. Do you see that as being the main linchpin of VFX work? Come on, somebody can answer. Courtney.
Yes, hello. So AI apps. So yeah, there's a few that I use. Perplexity is my ChatGPT, which kind of combines a lot of different models in one, and I talk to it all day long. So that's kind of like my mental, like my rubber duck, I think the developers call it, where you speak to a rubber duck and it gives you feedback. So that's kind of like my rubber duck. Then you've got so in terms of creating decks, I found a really, really brilliant app called Gamma.app, which helps build like pitch decks, and you can pull in like data and stuff like that. So if you wanted to build, like if you wanted to like create graphs and stuff like that, that's quite useful. And Krea.ai again brings in a bunch of image models, video models, image to video, or image to image, video to image, real time kind of like tweaking of like real time feedback of generative AI. So you do have some control. Again, one of the things that I kind of really want to hasn't been said yet is that I think generative AI specifically is really good at the ideation process or the iteration process. A lot of time and a lot of frustration and a lot of challenges come from everybody, because it is an artistic industry, everybody's interpretation of a vision or an idea. I think being able to utilize generative AI or AI tools in general to be able to help get that information over in a bit more of a refined manner, so that everybody can share with that vision rather than description and lost kind of in translation and all the nuances that happen, which is part of the process, which you can get happy accidents from. But more often than not, it can be that can be a barrier and add a layer of difficulty. So I think iterations, idea creations, that sort of stuff. I think that's where we really kind of where generative AI excels, in my view. The artistry and the skill of actual execution is never going to go away, because that's the craft.
Thank you, Victor. What's in your tool bag?
Comfy UI and Nuke, the combination, and that is going to be the future. Yeah, it's very clear. So you can even start now using the nodes from Comfy UI inside Nuke. But even if you work with both in parallel, just without entering into much detail, but the thing is, like, it's also very intuitive for compositors because it's node based. So it's in a nodal graphic style. So that is going to overcome in terms of compositing aid.
Thank you. I'm just looking through the questions here. What do you think of the incredible work of Metaphysics on here or other projects they've made? If we're reduced now to thumbs up or thumbs down for everything. So anybody else got anything to say about that, or any particular generative AI work that you've seen, or artists working in that area that you really rate?
Metaphysics, would you say that's generative AI though? That's machine learning, and then bish bash bosh, but it's not generative AI.
Okay, but still using within the AI circle. Yeah. I don't know how much of it is machine learning, how much is Gen AI, but can you name any artists who are doing interesting stuff? I saw some interesting stuff today. If you go through the AI slop on LinkedIn, you do occasionally come across amazing artists. But any of you seen any amazing artwork, creative work being created out there?
I haven't seen anything I care about, if I'm honest.
Maybe Christopher Nolan, I think he was using, or was that CGI that he was using? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a big no from you guys then. Nobody can really recommend any.
This is a bit silly, and I don't know if it's still like out there, but on YouTube, did anybody see the Bigfoot Yeti like short YouTube clips where the guy was doing the acting of the Yeti doing a vlog or something like that out in the wild. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and a TV show waiting to happen. So, I mean, yes, I understand. It's not the most like professional thing to do, but in terms of entertainment, I loved it. So yeah, that was my. It's not the most artistic stuff, but it was fun for me.
I agree. I think right now AI is being used on TikTok mostly. Because of course the quality is easy, is fast, and is hedonistic. It's like you get it right fast. So I have many examples, and there is a guy in Italy that is just grabbing like news. So for instance, like trials or whatever, and he's just changing the language to make people to speak like Dante, like the Divine Comedy. And you see like everybody, like the worst people ever, talking with the highest level of language, and it's super fun. And that is actually super cool because it's like the lip sync and all of that. And also someone is writing, of course, the prompt on all of that. But right now, I think in production, in real production, everybody's looking at each other. And it's like, who's going to start first? And the moment, and this is what I mean, is like the moment someone is going to do it and is going to succeed, because he's going to succeed sooner or later, maybe not at the first attempt, but after that, everybody else. And it's going to happen and this is just my personal opinion, like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is the switch of CGI. Well, it's going to happen like the switch for AI. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean that is going to make CGI obsolete. What I mean is like AI is going to be fully integrated in the industry. And of course, we need other pieces in the puzzle like legality and all of that. But it's going to happen sooner or later. This is what I mean.
Okay, thank you. Just going to, there's a question here about diversity with regards to if AI is trained on the whole of the internet with all its biases, all its whiteness, all its maleness, the imagery that we've seen, and you'll be well aware of kind of when you sort of type in High Court judge, you would always get a picture of an elderly white guy. If you typed in cleaner, you'd always get a picture of a black female. There is an inherent bias in there. Do you think AI, one of the dangers of AI is it will erase diverse voices and perspectives? How do we get round that? How do we enable people, or is AI an enabler which allows diverse voices to say new things? What is your take on that, Sajeel?
Sorry.
So the thing is, it depends on the training models and the companies. And to be honest, this is a very valid concern because there are parameters there's something called weight values that is put while training the data, right? So like if you download custom models, for example, on Comfy UI, they tend, even a lot of other AIs, they tend to go towards NSFW images or generative AI very quickly because that's what keyword and tokens are used to generate things. And it's going to generalize. I did see recently on certain AI model, like this guy was saying 25-year-old model generate, and it was again and again generating some Caucasian woman, almost similar face as well. So there was not even a variation on the face. It was almost coming similar results no matter what they were changing. So that is really, really worrying thing because keywords will be specified to things. And for example, the age number was the driver in that case. When they changed the age number, it started looking different. But around a certain age range, it was again and again showing the same thing, this generative thing. So yeah.
Hugo.
Yeah, I think I'm really glad that Simon asked that question. I was trying to see if you're going to pick it up because it was a really important question. I really agree with Simon. I think there is a problem of inequality, and for me, like, this entire thing has a problem already from the very beginning because the data that we are training these AIs with well, first of all, there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up around there. That is one of my biggest problems with AI, is where does the data come from, and who owned the data? Was it stolen? I do think that it's our responsibility as artists, and especially speakers of the industry and experts of the industry, to really make sure we really put all these companies on check and really make noise about these things, and even go to court if we need to. I do feel that things need to be done properly, the same way that they were done properly when we had Napster stealing all the music, and then the musicians went to court and solved. I mean, at the time, Metallica took a big hit because of that. People were destroying Metallica CDs with industrial machines and everything. They took a huge dip on sales and everything, but it really worked. Like, their first step managed for all the musicians to actually construct something now we have, which is basically Apple Music, and we have Spotify. All those things come from the remnants of Napster, and I feel our industry is on that phase as well. It's a free-for-all. It's like the Wild Wild West now. Everyone stole the data. All of it was stolen. We all know that. Like, they're trying to pretend that it wasn't stolen, but of course it was. Like, everything was stolen. And so they're all liable, and we should take them to court, and we should make sure everything gets narrowed down to specific sets of data. And again, like Simon says, also to make sure that data is not compromised with basically a diffusion of society and something that really whitewashes or in one way or makes really a diffusion of opinions, and it is not able to create something out of the box. I think that is really important for us as creators to try to push that into those products, give feedback to these companies, tell them that they need to put that in, tell them that they need to consider those voices as well. I think it's really important, and this is now the time to do that noise. I think this is really the time.
And there is a phrase, isn't there? A model collapse, which is when AI systems eat themselves, essentially, and what we get is a sort of bland mush of imagery. But the other part of the question there was also, does the industry, our industry, have a responsibility with regard to being more careful about representation in the images that AI might, offer us? I'll just go to, I think, Klaudija, you were next, but I think I can see your...
I did have a hand up, yes, and I thought I better be quiet, but...
Nonsense.
Okay. Yes, this is the problem, and this is representation. I mean, look how much effort the Access Visual Effects have been doing for years about the inclusivity, right? And then overnight, somebody can come in, in the US and get rid of all this, inclusivity, equality, diversity, overnight. So we live in a dangerous times. AI is not only about visual effects, it is about what is going on in a world, We have to have an awareness of it because nobody cares about us, not even studios, right? They always diss us. They can't wait to replace us with AI. So we do need to look at the larger picture and, do whatever we can to try to influence things that are outside of visual effects as well.
So we have a responsibility there, and Access VFX are one of the places that maybe we can exercise that responsibility.
Yeah.
Thank you. Courtney, you had your hand up next.
Oh yeah. So I think in terms of policing generative AI, I think there should be bodies or like on a government level, and I think they are discussing the ethics, because this is more the ethical part of the conversation in terms of how it's being used and what type of society we want it to represent. But ultimately the end result of what we're getting or what we're generating is a reflection of the system. So if you are in the office and you're, it's mainly, you're in Europe and it's mainly white people in the office, and you've generated white characters, and there's nobody else, no other different voices to offer. Maybe, add some more, different cultures into it. Maybe we could look at it from this perspective, and then, going further up in terms of when you're collecting the data and you're sorting it into what a young female or a young professional doctor looks like. Who is the person making those decisions? At some point, there's a human interaction, and that human is going to have maybe a preconceived bias, but depending on their world and life experiences, and that is going to then filter through to whatever they create, and therefore the availability of the software, or the options that the software might be giving you. So it's a reflection of the system itself. On an individual level, yes, what Hugo was saying, it's 100% right. We have to start being more vocal about it. I remember when I was first testing Mid-Journey, I couldn't generate black characters for love nor money. And I was in the Discord saying, look, I'm giving these prompts, what's happening there? These are the results I'm getting. But gradually, I think it started to change, and you start seeing the improvement. And I think it's more about, you have to call it out when you see it, and you have to kind of let it be known. But then also you need people in these positions that are making these decisions to help have a voice, and at the genesis stage say, actually, you know what, that's a bit too skewed this way, and that's not very representative that way. So I mean, yes, at the end of the day, it's a computer, it's ones and zeros, but it's a reflection of what our society is, and those in power have the most responsibility. But there's more of us, and we have to definitely be as vocal as possible and make them know that this isn't right, and the direction you're going in has some real world consequences.
Thank you. And before we go to Sajeel next, and then Victor, just to say that we've got a few minutes left, I believe, Hugo. But so if anybody has any extra questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll try and get to them.
Yeah, we probably, I mean, we're already over, but the main problem, I think we can still have 5 minutes, but my main issue is that the other panel, the no CGI panel, has to start at 8, unfortunately, because we have one of the panelists that needs to be there only at 8. So that's why I'm trying to, but we can steal a little bit from the show reels, which is next. So I think we still have like 5 minutes.
Okay, so 6:15 in terms of UK time. I'll make a note of that. Thank you, Hugo. So, Sajeel.
So very quickly adding to Claudia's comment, AI and deepfakes and things like that, and even the voice AI, I've already seen in news over here that it has been started to use in scamming people. And I think it's really important to educate normal non-VFX people to differentiate, at least visually as of now, till it becomes really, really good, that, hey, this is AI and this is not. Like someone like my dad, who probably doesn't even know how to use tech on WhatsApp and things like that, he would be gullible enough if someone sent a video of me saying, hey, I'm in trouble and that kind of thing. So the implications of this thing are really deep, and overall for humanity, it can be really strange unless people find out a way to detect it really efficiently, which I doubt it's even possible. But at least we can train people to look for those artifacts and defects to recognize AI,
Okay, thank you. I thought you had a comment as well, but you've disappeared from my screen. Oh, I can't hear you.
I prefer to save that time for something important.
You may be in for a long wait. Okay, thank you very much in that case. So look, before we wrap up, then let's have some quick fires here. If you were thinking about a choice of going to the VFX industry, and you're at school and you've heard that there's this thing called AI, and you've seen all the kind of AI slop, etc., which excites you, and you hear that Hollywood is doomed, etc., etc. What statement would you make to help people, feel proud about the VFX industry and go into the VFX industry with confidence, or wouldn't you? So let's go through and ask you all that. So Alex, shall we start with you?
Yeah, I think the important part is have passion for what you do. I think someone in the panel said it's one of the most boring thing to just generate stuff and just not have the feeling with it. I think if you enjoy what you do, whatever that is, even if it's rotoscoping, I think at the end of the day, that is the key. And then you have to do what I love about people like Jahirul and Victor and Hugo. You don't just become button masher. You don't just become prompter. You actually learn the background of it. You actually understand, because that really makes you proud of what you do. But at the same time, don't be blind by things. Make your life easier. It doesn't mean you have to make your life easier about the things that you actually like. For example, if you are a book writer, don't let AI write your book, but let AI help you with whatever, the cover or review or whatever. So basically, use AI to make the things that you love, and at the same time double down on the skills that you love and make them valuable. I think that is the key, and that for that you have good education. Search for the best education, like run away from all these stupid YouTube videos and so on, and just focus on being really good in fundamentals versus pushing out every 5 seconds something.
Okay, thank you. All very good words. We've only got 10 seconds each for you, so let's go to Claudia. What's your what would you say?
Well, if you want to be an artist, you need to be a digital artist. Now, let's say compositing, visual effects compositing is a great way to be able to explore, create even art. You don't need to even work in visual effects. You can just create art. So
Right. So it's the implicit rewards of process, the creative process. Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah, it's a tough one because I would always say my passion was the problem solving. I mean, yes, there's the artistry part of it and the end result, but I think you have to you got to look at every, well, compositing for me anyway. I look at it like a giant puzzle and with just a bunch of like elements that don't necessarily fit together, but I have to figure out how. And I think that is, if you are quite logical and cerebral, like, and you don't mind getting lost in your brain, then I think it's a great industry for you. I think it's a really rewarding once you get to that final result.
Great. And I have to cut you off there because
sorry.
we're going to
No worries,
we're over our deadline. But I'm just going to ask Jay, what would you say to encourage somebody to join the VFX industry?
I'd say get yourself to be very talented in the field you want to enter, because it is tough and it is hard. But so yeah, if you're going to do it, then put your effort in and work hard.
With or without AI help?
Well, it's up to you. I don't mind. I think as long as you're sharpening your eye, and as long as you've got good, as you say, all the skills you need to see what works and what doesn't work, then whatever tickles your boat.
Fabulous. Ricardo, what about you? How would you persuade somebody to join the VFX industry?
I pursue like from the basics. Do a little bit of drawing, photography, learn the small details, and embrace AI as a small tool.
Thank you. Good word, embrace. We've heard enhance and various other words of AI as an assistant. Victor, you've got the last word.
Well, what about me? I have to talk as well. You
don't count.
I'll be short as well, but Victor can go first.
Okay. So Luke Skywalker never went to a Force school. First of all. Second, he got a mentor. So get a mentor, get someone, and just use the Force. So you don't choose to be an artist. This is the first. So you just follow, and AI, not AI. By the time maybe you finish your education, you're going to be ready to start the education. So use whatever you want and use the Force, most of all.
Thank you. And I suppose we better reluctantly move on to Hugo. Hugo, what about you?
Thanks, Zane. I'm going to be short. So I'm not going to repeat anyone's opinion because everyone already said everything that I probably would say. But I'm just going to add to that, which is sometimes there are also other things. And I sometimes feel that if you really want to do something very artistic, put potentially this is not the industry for you, I feel like there's other things as well. There's a lot of industries that have to do with art, have to do with creative skill sets that are not necessarily visual effects. So if you don't like corporate interference, and if you don't like stress, and if you don't like shareholders, and if you don't like shitty movies, it might not be for you. I'm just saying that there's other things, and I'm speaking, as an artist first, because I was first an artist, and then I became a VFX artist. And so I just, I'm trying also to do that. I'm trying to return to my artist roots and try to develop more of that. And I think there's other things, and people should also embrace that and do other things as well besides that.
Thank you. Thanks. And just to sort of say, this panel was about having an honest conversation about AI in the VFX industry, and I think we achieved that. We got through most of the questions either explicitly or implicitly. I'd just like to thank Alex, Klaudija, Courtney, Hugo, of course, Jay, Sajeel, Ricardo, and Victor for their wisdom, and hopefully we'll do this again in 10 years. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. This was great. Thank you so much. See you all later.